Hey enthusiast, look over here. This is 140 proof. Wake the hell up and buy me. So let's just join hands, have a little bit of delicious whiskey, and enjoy some $500 Barrell Dovetail Gold Label.
Yeah, so for those of you drinking at home, Dovetail, if that sounds familiar, is part of Barrell's evergreen lineup. And that means that it's always going to be around. It is an American whiskey. No, actually, it's just a whiskey since it has American and Canadian components, and it's finished in rum, port, I believe it is, and then done Cabernet barrels. And that's been around for a while. We love it. We've called it dessert whiskey. We've called it Christmas whiskey. We've drank it left and right, up and down. And a little while ago, they released a gray label version, which is like a $200-ish version. It's older, it's bolder, supposedly it's better. And then while John and I were looking the other direction and working on other stuff, they just went ahead and dropped the Gold Label Dovetail, which is supposed to be the oldest, the rarest, the best, the creme de la creme. The cream rises to the top, and it's priced appropriately at $500, but it is also hazmat whiskey.
That's true. That is, I think that point alone, and this I'm sure was no mistake, but that point alone is going to stand out to a ton of enthusiasts. This is going to really, like where the Whistle Pig 18 year is more of the, this is a beautiful gift in great packaging and would really stand out to somebody who likes whiskey, but maybe doesn't have a massive collection. This whiskey, the Barrell Craft Spirits Dovetail Gold Label, is very much in your face. Hey enthusiast, look over here. This is 140 proof. Wake the hell up and buy me.
Yeah, I mean, when I say hazmat, I'm not lying. Like, you can't put this on an airplane.
Yeah,
like
this
FedEx,
is actually a hazmat material.
Yeah, so like these have to go by like FedEx ground. So when you hear whiskey enthusiasts be like, oh, it's a hazmat release, like that has actual meaning. So this is north of 70% ABV. If you try and take this on an airplane, the TSA will take it away. I can't blame them. They'll go and drink it on their lunch break.
Good for them.
But this is kind of everything that people ask for. They want high proof, they want high age statements. Unfortunately, that comes with a high price tag, but I am ready to dive in. This is a blend of Indiana, Tennessee, and Canadian components. It is not a bourbon. It is just a whiskey, since it's a blend of product from different countries. But with that said, is $500 worth any whiskey? I'm ready to dive in.
Okay, you start diving in. I'm going to start sharing some ideas about Dovetail in general. So the initial batch of Dovetail was something that I think was not necessarily a happy accident, but it was something that they had a little bit of a hard time recreating, and they eventually came to the point where they were able to sustainably release this thing in its, purest and best form. And it's just such an exciting whiskey. This is something that I recommend to people who are like, hey, I have tried this and I have tried that. There's a lot of stuff out there that I'm unsure, like, what's the next thing that I need to get into? And I'll usually throw out there, like, especially this time of year, like, hey, have you tried Barrell's Dovetail? Because you've never had anything like it. It's a really fun whiskey. To me, it's very much like a Christmas in a glass. There's like these white chocolatey rum cake kind of vibes with like a little bit of fruit dashed in there. Like there's like a sort of a like bear claw sort of glazed pastry thing going on. Like there's just a lot of really cool, I think, Christmassy vibes in it, for me anyhow. And so I like to recommend this to people who are kind of looking for the next thing to get into. And the gray expression was very cool. It took some of those things up to 11, but it also really elevated the age, especially brought a lot more oak into it, which you don't find so much in the earlier any of the standard Dovetail batches. So I think that's cool. I'm really excited to see where this goes with we know that the Canadian stuff that they're using in here is high aged and screaming high proof, which is obviously how they hit the 140.18 proof on this. I am, needless to say, very intrigued.
Oh man. Okay, so we talked about the new year previously, drinking underproof. This to me, that this is 140 proof. I don't think that's a knock. I feel like if you see 70% ABV on a bottle, there's no way you're gonna be like, oh, maybe it's gonna be a smooth zipper, just something to knock back. But It's not punishing either. Like, I still have my taste buds. I can
Yeah.
still see. Like, I haven't to like move the air around in here. It is so buttery. We're gonna have to pull out the butter counter again. Like, this is just pure pound cake brown butter, just buttery caramel toffee in a way that the normal Dovetail isn't. I actually think I get more oak on the regular and the Gray Label Dovetail and a little more balance. This just really brings up that Canadian component a lot in like a buttery sweet way to me. This is
Boy, am I glad you said that.
pile of pancakes, but the pancakes are like also kind of on fire, but
Yeah.
in an okay way. Yeah.
Yeah, okay. All right. Fire pancakes. That's a new one for us, by the way. Buttery is not, and I am so glad you said it. Like, it is 100% like sweet, creamy, brown buttery, in your face. There is a good layer of oak to it, I think, but there's so much sweetness there, and obviously plenty of proof to go with it, that you get so much stuff happening in a really short amount of time. Not that, like, I'm not trying to say that it's a short finish or anything. What I'm trying to say is that, like, you just kind of get bombarded by what's going on with this. It's
an assault, but like in a good way.
Oh yeah, yes. It is an enjoyable assault on your palate.
Yeah, like this does not come in like a, I'm trying to think what the expression is. It's not like a spring lily. Like, it doesn't just kind of happen. It's like, hey,
Jay.
we're here. Get on the train. Let's go. Like,
Jay, would you say that it came in like a wrecking ball?
yeah, this whiskey is a wrecking ball.
Okay.
It's plated in gold, and it's going to knock you over, but you're going to enjoy it.
A gold-plated wrecking ball. Barrell Dovetail Gold Label.
We should just start writing their marketing copy at this point.
They would probably lose a shitload of business, but it would be entertaining. And I'm down. I mean, like I mentioned earlier, we've had Will Schragus on the show before. Will, if you want us to start doing some of the ad copy or anything for the website, just let me know. I'm happy to help out with that.
I can see that boardroom meeting being like, fun is up 60%, but profits are down 31, and everyone being like, I don't know if this was a good choice. Like, we gotta let these guys go.
Everybody's like kind of looking down, like maybe like rubbing their foreheads a little bit nervous, and I'm in the corner like fist pumping, like, see that? Fun 60% up. Don't worry, next quarter it's going up another 9%. Nice.
60% of the time, it works every time. But overall, really enjoy this. It is hot. It is full of flavor. I don't think you can extrapolate a previous experience with Dovetail and be like, oh yeah, the regular was like this. This is going to be that, but stronger. This is totally different to me. It's different in a good way, but it's super different. And so if you have any opportunity at all, try this first. I don't say this all the time. And honestly, half the time we're like, no, just go buy this. It's great. You should absolutely go track this down, try it. And if you have the same, like, oh man, I love it, and it hurts, but in a good way, then it's the product for you.
Yeah, it's really cool. It is absolutely hot. Like, this is something that as you're sipping and dissecting is fun to do. Not something you're going to do with 2 or 3 ounces, or not something I would recommend you do with 2 or 3 ounces. I think it's tasty whiskey. It is good. I feel like, is so disjointed from the actual Dovetail experience that I feel a little bit let down by that. Like, if this had its own new name, and instead of Dovetail, this was something else, and it was a new gold label expression, I'd be like, oh, that's pretty cool. Like, we haven't had anything like this before. It's rich, opulent, has a good mouthfeel. It's buttery, a ton of proof on this. The nose is just super fun, and there's layers of fruit in there mixed in with some of the really nice oaky vibes. And like you said earlier, like the brown butter, like the waffle cone, there's a lot of cool things in this. Almost reminds me of some of the really great like American whiskeys or light whiskeys we've had.
Yeah.
But it doesn't have that white chocolatey, like Christmassy kind of vibe that I've come to love in Dovetail. Like, I might have mentioned this before. I've got the 17th bottle of Dovetail.
Oh yeah, that's right.
And they're like,
that's like your thing.
It is. It's my thing. Like, and I'm like so scared to drink it. I've had like maybe like 3 ounces out of this bottle because, they label these things, and the first batch had a little tiny number 1 on it. So, there's the first batch, and they always have like the bottle number on there. So I've got the 17th bottle from the first batch of Dovetail, and I will like consistently go back to, like, when I get a new bottle of Dovetail, I'll have a sip of it, and then I'll go back and pour like 1/10 of an ounce of the first one and just like compare the two, be like, it's cool to see like the evolution, but also it's just like the DNA of Dovetail is so strong and so good. It's just, to me, this doesn't have that same DNA. Does that make sense?
Yeah, the way it strikes for me, and I have to say, I think it's funny. I've never known someone so excited to be 17th before. Be like, hell yeah,
Tell me about it.
17 is me, brother. You know, but for me, yeah, you could quite literally call this Barrell Craft Spirits Wrecking Ball, scratch the Dovetail off, and I'd be like, yeah, totally different product, great. And I have to say, I get what they're doing, and I like what they're doing, and it makes a lot of sense in a lot of different ways. But when I had Gray Label Dovetail, I wasn't like, oh, sweet, we definitely need the next level up. I was like, this is great. This is different. My itches have been scratched appropriately. They could have just stopped there. And I don't think I would go through life being like, God, I wish there was a Gold Label Dovetail. Like, I'm glad it's here. But they could have also just completely spun this into a different product because it is very different. And I would have never known the difference. And I would have been totally fine with it.
Yeah, I don't think I would have taken a sip of this and been like, Jay, you know what this reminds me of is Dovetail. I feel like it's so different that I would never have caught it. Which, like, I feel like makes me a little bit sad. But, like, in a way that's kind of stupid because it doesn't really matter. Like, is it still a good product? Yes. Does it still taste good? Yes. Does it do everything you would want for a premium? Yes. Like, it has all of the stuff checked off.
Yep.
Is it stingy? You bet your ass it is. I feel like the way that the whiskey world is going, we are maybe a year at most away from, like, seeing a Barrell Platinum come out. It's going to be $1,000 and it's going to somehow be a totally crazy thing. I'm just making this up, by the way. This is not like anything.
We have no insight into this.
I have no information on this, but I feel like the way that the whiskey world is trending and how Barrell has grown from having their great evergreen products in their batches to the gray labels to the gold labels. I feel like, what the hell? Like, let's get a platinum coated Wrecking Ball. If they want to use Wrecking Ball for the name of it, I'm totally cool with that. No royalties needed or anything. I'll be happy to refer people back to this
first
review.
One's on us, guys.
Yeah, that's fine. But anyway, a cool product. Sad about what I feel like is the missing link of that, like, really cool rum finish. I'm missing some of it in here.
Yeah, and like, this is good whiskey, but what I did like is that Seagrass, you had the original Seagrass, and I'll end on this note. You had the original Seagrass vibrant DNA. You had the Gray Label, which for me was perfect. Really had that same DNA with some different elements. Like, I felt like the Seagrass nature was turned up, the oak was turned down a little bit, and it was super powerful, but still ultimately had that Seagrass DNA. And then you have the Gold Label Seagrass, which is the oak turned up and have that Seagrass DNA. This one, I feel like we're losing that key Dovetail DNA. It's still great whiskey, but if you drink Dovetail in the regular and are like, yeah, I want Dovetail turned up to 11, this might actually not be for you. This is, to me, it has the Dovetail name, but it's a different whiskey. It's a great whiskey, but try it first because it may not be what your expectation is. And I got to be honest, if you're going to spend $500 on a bottle of whiskey, you are expecting something. I don't know what it is, but make sure that lines up for you because it, could go either way.
Amen.